This is where he's showing you that Suge and Pac was beefing. If you listen to his interview, he says, um, "You're not going to agree with everything that your business partner wants to do, right?" Talking about Suge and Pac, and they wasn't in agreement with everything, and Suge didn't want Pac to leave and go do no other label. He's like, he says, Suge was the businessman, and that's when you start seeing the I ain't gonna say animosity. Um, that's where you could see that there was some friction between Suge and Pac, and Neckbone is sticking up for Suge, right? Because his attitude changes when he's talking in this interview, as if Pac was wrong, right, for trying to do his own thing. Because he goes, Suge was the businessman. Suge was the one who made all the money. You know what I'm saying? And Suge made all the decisions. And he wanted Pac to just go along with him. And he was the one, you know, that got Pac stuff cracking, right? He said he was telling Pac, yo, you do it my way. Nigga, you popping right now because of me. You know what I'm saying? He was like, it was a more about, yo, why you want to go deal with another label, man? Keep it in the family. And that's what he used it, and the words he used. He said, as far as like, keep it in the family. Don't go run off with this person and this label and doing that and do this. Nigga, I'm the one that got you out of jail. This is what he's saying. You can go watch the interview yourself. Right? Now, I'm the same person that's telling y'all that, you know, Pac and Suge was beefing because Pac was trying to leave. All people that was close to Pac, like the Tracys, the Gobies, his aunt, uh, Yasmin Fuller, and all of them, that was telling you that Pac was leaving. You know, um, all the people, those people that was close to him was telling you that, right? They was telling you about the fights, the Frank Alexanders, the Michael Moores, telling you about the disagreements that Suge and Pac was having, right? Now, does that mean that Suge got him killed? I'm not saying that. But if you're asking me if he had motive to, yeah, right? If you and especially if you look at Neckbone's last interview, right? When he talking about, yo, man, I'm the one that got you out of jail and everything. This is what I'm trying to explain to people who don't see it from my perspective. You, if you telling me he flipped out on Dre, if Suge flipped out on Dr. Dre and made him leave the label without nothing, and he earned every dime of it, they started it from day one together, from scratch. They started that. Dre started all over again from Ruthless. It started from scratch all over again. And then all this drama and beef and gang banging stuff happening. And Dre's like, yo, I'm not trying to be around it. I don't want to do this. And then instead of Suge giving him a severance package or they splitting up the company, Suge tell that nigga, yo, you want to leave, you going to leave with nothing. So how do you think he feels about Tupac? A dude that he got him bubbling. They just did 10 million records together. He got Pac bubbling. Not saying that Pac wasn't Pac before he got out of, before he went to jail, because Pac was already Pac, right? But now with him with Death Row, he's selling more than he ever did before. He hot as fish grease. and Suge and them got him out of jail, and when everybody else left him in jail, nobody else tried to help him. So when Suge is telling him, and according to Wade Neckbone said, yo, don't be going to run off with this label or that label, and I done did all this, and I done did all of that, you know what I'm saying? And I done got you out of jail, you know. And then Neckbone say, man, but they stuff was deeper than that. He said, but they was tight, but they had a couple of disagreements. And Pac ain't no punk. And Suge ain't no punk. But then they still was like brothers. Yeah, well, so was Cain and Abel. Them niggas was brothers too, and what happened? So for me, just me, the only reason I believe many people don't believe, and I'm not saying that Suge got Pac killed. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not ruling him out either. Most of the reason y'all, a lot of y'all say Suge ain't have nothing to do with it, because it would be, what nigga is sitting in the car with a dude that he put a hit out on and going to get the car shot up with him sitting in the car? He wouldn't be the first person to do it. I guarantee you. And when you're dealing with professionals, they can guarantee you they not going to hit you. I'm not saying that's the case, but Alpo was in the car with Rich Porter and Big Head Gary when Big Head Gary shot Rich Porter in the car. You can't tell me that the bullet couldn't have ricocheted, excuse me, and hit Alpo. You don't know where the bullet gonna go. And don't tell me about, oh, Suge was in the car with Pac. Why would he get niggas to shoot it up and he in the car? Because if he wasn't in the car, who would everybody be blaming right now? If Suge wasn't in that car when Pac got shot up, who would everybody be blaming for Pac death? So he had to be there, in my opinion. And then when you're dealing with professionals, they know what they doing. I'm not saying that's the case, but it don't mean nothing when dudes run up on the car and hit it up. But like I said, I knew Neckbone was gonna come back to try to do damage control, but this one made it even more clearer that Pac and Suge had a problem, and Pac and Suge was beefing, and because he makes it clear that Pac was trying to go off and do his own label, and Suge was telling the nigga, nah, you gonna run Death Row East.